Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Elizabeth Tong.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Hoffman.
Don't get us confused.
Please.
And we're going to be deconstructing some PDFs today and showing you how to make them totally digitally accessible.
This is the last of July's How I Met Your Media Remediation Labs. And the two documents we have today, we have one from the statistics department and one from social work. And we will be discussing OCR, optical character recognition programs that help scan documents, and accessibility checkers and things like that. So let us start. We're going to start with statistics. I found the bylaws document on the stats website. It's from 2021. It's an 11-page document, and most of it is text with some headings, things like that. We've opened it up in, by we, I mean, Elizabeth has opened it up in Acrobat. And the first thing that I usually do when I'm starting to remediate a document is check and see if it has tags. The tags are very essential to the screen readers, which some of our students use. We have tags that show headings, titles, text, figures, tables, lists, all of these things. And they need to be in a specific order so that screen readers can help the students navigate through the documents. And without them, it's a serious problem. There we go. And when it says no tags available, that's an issue. In order to be accessible, you've got to have tags. So that's the first place to look. The second place, and this is all on the toolbar on the right, there's a little tag. It kind of looks like a gift tag or something like that at the bottom. Above that is a funny Z looking thing that identifies the reading order. And without tags, you can't have a reading order. So once we get this far, the next thing to do is in Adobe Acrobat, there is an accessibility checker, which is very helpful. And this is under all tools, prepare for accessibility, and then check for accessibility. And Elizabeth, what do we find?
I suspect I know already, but let's see. So we've got issues, we've got zero tags, big issue. Honestly, the next four are pretty easy to fix. But basically, it's just complaining because we don't have any tags, and that is a fair complaint.
Yep.
It also wants some alt text. It wants us to fix these tables. So we're going to have to do something to this to help it out.
Right. And the accessibility checker is a really good place to start in case you don't know where to start. They have them in Adobe Acrobat, Microsoft Word. In a lot of programs now, you can check your own accessibility and see how you're doing before you start to sort of fix things yourself or try things. It gives you an idea. Also, the accessibility checker can also fix things for you occasionally. It will offer that as an option. So what would you do, Elizabeth, to start this? There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
So sometimes you can use Acrobat's automatically tag PDF and it'll do a great job. And sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to try that because if it fixes my problems, then that's awesome. And that'll make things go so much faster. Okay. It did give us some tags. And
can you identify some of the tags from the top just so we can see in case folks don't know what they are?
Let's see here. P tag here, if I open it up with the little caret, you'll see it says Bylaws Department of Statistics. So we know that we're looking at this. Our next one, they're giving us a heading 4 and they're saying preamble. So they've decided this is a heading 4. Probably they're deciding that by the size and the fact that it's bolded and sitting by itself. And then we've got a nice long paragraph here. Right. And now it's starting to section out things. We've got heading 4.1 faculty. So we're looking at this area.
Okay.
So we do have tags. Looks like it's found a table here, which is cool. And I can also see when I click on reading order, I can see how some of these are sectioned out.
And the reading order, the numbers that are there, that's actually the order that these words would be read in. So it would begin at the top and go to 2, 3, 4, 5. Occasionally you'll have a document where your numbers are all mixed up, and it will start with 24 and then go to 2, and you then have to fix your reading order by moving the parts of the reading order, dropping and dragging them. This isn't too bad.
It's not too bad.
And each page starts over with a new reading order. So it starts back at 1. It doesn't go from 1 to 11 pages worth. That makes it a little bit easier. And there are a few things we found in this document that, looking at accessibility and what kind of remediation might need to be done, some of them are simple. Things like making sure that your headings are in bold, that if they are very important, you want them to be capitalized. We also have some italics. We found one link that needs to be fixed. The link is tagged as a link, correct? Yeah, which is good. However, having a link like that in a document can be difficult for some of our students. And what we want instead is to have a link to it. And the easiest way, Elizabeth will demonstrate.
I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to grab my link, the URL. I'm copying it. I'm going to find what I want to call this.
It needs a name.
It needs a name, yeah, because this is not a good name. We want to give it a title that is short, succinct, but tells you exactly where you're going. So what do you think, Elizabeth?
I would say, just looking at the language that comes before, probably Statutes of the University of Georgia would be a good one. I mean, it's a little wordy, but it's okay. It's technically correct. If you don't have a title, if you don't have a name for your link, the screen reader will read all of the parts of the URL.
So I've highlighted our words here. I right click. I'm going to create link. I want it to open a web page. I'm going to switch that, go to next, and then I'm just going to paste in that link that we had. And now it should give us a tag for that link. It's going to be kind of hard to find, unfortunately, but well, no. It's definitely working as a link, because when I clicked on it, it wanted to take us there.
Do you think should folks keep both the link and the actual URL link together in a document?
I personally believe it depends on context, but in most cases, I don't feel like you need the URL there. I think that you can take it off and you can clean up your document. If this were going to be printed and it did not have a QR code to use, which is another way of accessing a link, then you might want to have the whole URL there so that people can look at it and type it into their computer or their phone or however they're going to access the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this case, this is going to be a digitally accessed PDF, so I don't feel like we need that URL there.
Okay, great. We have done the auto tagging. The auto tagging has come across pretty good.
It's okay. Yeah, I would do some things like all these heading 4s. I know this is kind of nitpicky, but I would prefer not to call them heading 4s, and I would change all these to let's see, I just right click on it. I'm going down to properties. I would change those to probably heading 2s.
Make them a little bit larger.
And I wouldn't even change the size, but it would change like the dynamic of how they are nested.
Okay. And the tags are nested under each other. It's not, as you can look on Elizabeth's screen here, you can see how one starts at the left margin, the next one goes in a little bit, and that kind of nesting is important.
Especially if you're doing like tables, especially needed, they have to be nested. Otherwise, they just don't make any sense at all. So here's a table, and the TR stands for table row, and the TH is table heading, and then it tells you what is on. So this is tenure track. It's a table heading. Okay. So in this case, they really do have to be nested. Otherwise, this whole table would not make any sense. It would just basically read as paragraph or lines instead of a table. Okay.
So this one, the table parts of this, the tags this is well done.
It did a great job.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
agree. And if we go to reading order, then we can even see that the numbers are
Yep.
going in an order that we would
Mhm.
like it to be read.
Mhm.
And people with a screen reader could navigate this by using the headers and the cells.
Yeah, that's wonderful. There are a couple other things on the top of the next page, page 2. There's some italics,
Yes.
and we like to change those. Screen readers often have trouble reading italics, and it's very easy instead to just make it bold, just boldface, and get rid of the italics, and that's it.
It doesn't want to let go of the italics. So, Elizabeth.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh dear.
something that I often like to do, like this, if I only had access to Acrobat and that's how I had to fix this document, I could do it.
Of course, good.
I could, yeah,
Sure.
you could do it, but it would take us some time. We'd have to really go like step by step and line by line to fix it. Let me show you what I'm probably going to do instead if someone hands me this document.
There's an easier way.
There's
A little
often an easier
faster.
way. I'm going to open it back fresh again because we've done stuff to this one. And I want
I like the idea of a fresh document.
the fresh document. It's like fresh sheets.
Yes,
You put them on your bed and they're
it's-
so
It
nice.
smells so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how this document smells, but okay.
That's good.
So now we're back to 0. And what I'm going to do is convert this into a Word document. And then it will open it up in Word for me. And usually if a PDF looks like this, where it's basically, if it already looks like this, it appears like this was already built in Word to start.
Seems like it.
And so I suspect when we go to Word, it's going to be like, hey, I kind of recognize some of these things here.
I've seen you before.
Yeah, and a lot of the times it will take like these headings and it will go ahead and give them headings. And I could tell by that little arrow that just popped up when I'm here that it knows that this is a heading. And another thing I'm going to open while I'm here is my navigation pane.
This shows all the headings that have been put into the Word document, usually using styles, which is a very good friend you should get to know. And the styles gives you your headings, gives you lists, gives you a title. When you save that as a PDF and convert it, the tags for those headings go back to the PDF and get attached to that. That makes the screen reader operate as it's supposed to.
And I am impressed. It's actually done a really good job of finding, just glancing over. Some of these I would probably add in another heading, like under promotions, we've got it's 2.4, and then we have 2.41, 2.42. We could turn these into heading 3s, for example.
Yep.
I'm not going to do every single one now, but basically I've gone to home and I'm on this line, clicked on it, and up in the styles menu here, I'm going to go to heading 3 and click it. And now it's nested under here. It took away my numbers though. That's going to be one of the things where I'd have to kind of like fight with it a little bit and be like, no, 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 I want those numbers too. So that would take a little bit of finagling.
Could you add them back in front of the first word in the heading? Is that an option?
You could, but that might mess with the tags coming back over to PDF. Alternately, we could do some of the fix here and then we could finish fixing it in Acrobat when we go back over there. So I'm pretending like I'm making myself a note right now, writing. And what I'm saying is, hey, when I go back into Acrobat, I'm going to look for these, what should be a heading 3, and I'm going to tag them after the fact. But now that we're in Word, doing things like changing all of our italicized text into bold, much easier to do.
Much easier. Yep. So that works really well.
And
did the link come over?
Let's see. There's our link.
Okay.
And is the other? It is linking, but we liked it better. But super easy fix. I'm highlighting this, right-clicking, link. And then we're pasting the link into the address bar down here. saying okay. And now it is a link, and we can get rid of this bad boy. Period.
That's it.
And it looks like a link too, which is handy.
Right.
In Acrobat, when we changed it to a link, it didn't really look like
No,
anything, but
not
now
at all.
it stands out more visually as a link as well.
Exactly. Yep. Okay.
Here we have a list.
That's good. And in a screen reader, a list will be read if it has the correct tags with list. How does it go? List item 23 items. And then you can use it. Does it for bullet points, for numbered lists, for lettered lists, all of those things, if the tags are there.
I'm going to pretend like I've gone over this entire document and I'm super happy with everything.
It's a long one.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
But if I were working on this, it probably wouldn't take me any more than like 15 minutes just to go over and do the corrections I wanted to do in Word. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to save it. And then we're going to save as Adobe PDF. It's going to ask us if we're sure.
Of course we are. And the two program, this we do all the time, having both of these programs open and swapping back and forth between the two of them. They don't work together, but they do work together.
I often, if I'm working on like a laptop like this, I'll have them side by side, or at my desk, I have two monitors and I have Acrobat on one and Word on the other. And that way I can visually compare them too.
Right.
Okay, now we were open.
Okay.
And let's check our tags again. I like this much more.
Yes.
This is much neater.
Absolutely.
And I can open and see. Now, I wouldn't just call this a paragraph. I would probably call this a heading 1.
Yes, absolutely.
We can right-click right on this P where we know that our bylaws are living, and we go down to properties, and we can change it here. So that's one way. And now we have heading 1, and we've got our bylaws in there. The other way that
The
if we
reading
go
order
to our
panel?
reading order and open our reading order panel, and now what you can do is grab some stuff.
Yep.
And you could call it heading 1, and it would change it if it weren't already. Exactly.
Yep. Okay. And the reading order panel, it has all of those different choices. And we've talked about P for paragraph, and it's got, H1, H4, T for table. It also does figures. Figures are figures, images. They can be graphs, charts, any of those things that end up in PDFs for your classes or for your departments.
Oh, we can fix this thing I was talking about before where some of these I was like, I really want that.
How would you do that?
Currently, if they were only reading as P's, let's see if we can find one here.
Now, if you take the reading order off, can you see it better? Oh, I see there. Okay.
I'll call it a heading 3 and it will change it. Now, the way that we can see that, currently I have page content order bulleted, highlighted, on.
Yeah.
If I change it to structure types,
there
it will show us right there.
That's great.
Heading 3 now. That's a heading 2. And so we can go down and we can just find those. And this is a pretty quick fix.
Yeah. And P is paragraph or just normal text.
Yes,
just
exactly.
The words in all of these paragraphs. Now, what is L body?
So that's telling us that this is a list. And the reason that it is saying that is on our Word document and on the original. This guy, yeah. These are technically lists. These numbers, they are a list. So when it came over, it took those tags as being lists, and it is
great.
It is actually like nested and working as lists, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So that you don't have to pick them.
So yeah, we can grab these things now and quickly call them heading 3s or whatever it is we wanted to call them. We can also check and see our link is tagged as a link.
That's great.
So
it came over. Great.
So how are we going to make sure that we are accessible now? We've got our tags.
Yeah, I would go back to the accessibility checker under prepare for accessibility and check for accessibility again and see how we've done, what it has to, some of the things that it finds, you don't necessarily, they might not be as important as other ones.
It's definitely way happier than when we first did it.
Absolutely.
Say, yes, we check the reading order.
Mhm.
The title, a lot of times it doesn't come with a title.
Right.
Even if in styles you say, hey, this is the title, it's
Right.
like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
we want to right click on title and say fix. And then call it bylaws. We'll just call it that. Bylaws. Okay, now we have a title and it's happy.
Okay, great. The color contrast, it's black and white.
Looks great.
Exactly. So that's another one that they will, and if any of you have looked at the actual WCAG document that most of us have seen, the lists of things that you have to do to fix a document, and there's a lot with color contrast, but this is one that can, so it will get flagged. There are some easy fixes, and in this accessibility checker, you can do some of the fixes like Elizabeth is doing here.
So this one, it's upset because it says regularity. And what that means is that it really wants to have 3 columns, not 2 up here and then 3 down here. It's upset about this.
Okay.
Now, this is exactly what was in the original document.
Yeah.
And unless I went back and talked to the creator of this document, I wouldn't want to mess with that. So I'm just going to tell it to skip that rule.
Yeah. And I think it works because it's doing exactly what the folks in statistics want it to do, which is divide non-tenure track into 2 different tracks, academic and the lecturer. So that works there. So some of these you can just tell the accessibility checker to be quiet and that it's okay.
As long as you're like, no, I promise that's good enough.
Yeah. And always check the accessibility checker. I mean, it's a good place to start. And then before you're done, just do what we're doing, which is check it again. See,
doesn't hurt to check for sure.
No.
Oh, another thing is now that we have all of our headings, we can now have bookmarks, which is if you have like an 85-page document, so handy.
Absolutely.
Because you can just scoot around.
And you click on a bookmark and it jumps you right there. That's great.
And you can even open subheaders and stuff.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So I think this one's good to go.
This one is good to go. So for an 11-page document, it wasn't in horrible shape to begin with, which was good, but we were able to, for a document that didn't have any tags at all, to add some of them. We did have to use 2 different programs, but that's okay. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It makes some sense because word processing is interesting. We are processing the words, but we're also doing figures and tables and charts and stuff like that. But it's easy to do once you, or gets easier, I guess we could say. Okay, our second document is going to be from the social work website. This is the BSW typical course sequencing.
Okay.
And this is a 2-page document that I found on the social work website. And basically it just says what courses you need to take in what order if you are doing a Bachelor of Social Work. That's it. Pretty simple. Always opening it up in Adobe Acrobat, checking to see what it's got. And just as sort of beginning here, I'd like to look at some of the things that are here. I recognize that there's the arch, which is the logo for social work. We've got that there. And then there's an image at the top. It's not all image, but there is this blue arrow here thing that's down there. But when you click on it, like Elizabeth just did, what happens?
So I don't have any words here. I do have alt text, and the alt text says which
is a problem. I don't know where those pretty letters and numbers came from.
Right.
We didn't put them in.
So if I were using a screen reader, this would be a completely useless chunk of image right here, unfortunately.
Yep. And this is sort of the basis of the entire document. So you need to get it in a format that everybody can access.
Yes.
This is something that has to be fixed. I also am looking, and I can see, and I hope you guys can see also on your screens, that the font and the writing here is really fuzzy and kind of grayish and not really bold enough. It's difficult to read. That I just sort of am looking at. And the rest of the document is just a list. And it goes onto the second page just a little bit, and that's it. So there are two things that we can do. And Elizabeth and I decided to try. We have different ways of doing things sometimes. When I started learning to remediate documents, I learned using ABBYY, and ABBYY is ABBYY, and we call her she because her name is Abby. ABBYY Fine Reader, which is an OCR program. An OCR program is something that helps you scan your document, and it is an optical character recognition software that then reads the characters and tells you what it thinks it sees. And if you have a beautiful, crisp, lovely scan, a brand new book, you probably don't even need to ABBYY it because it's going to be really clear and crisp if you are using documents like this one, where I said that there's a kind of gray and light. The words they're not as clear as they should be. We can possibly fix some of these things in ABBYY. What I did was ABBY'd this, and Abby becomes a verb. She's a noun. She's just everything.
She's an adjective.
She is. We just do. Poor Abby. I'd like to think Abby was my friend. Sometimes she drives me nuts, but I use her more because that's what I learned. But I am coming to the dark side and going to Elizabeth's side because she learned some things that I really should be moving to. This is just a series of screenshots. The first screenshot is of ABBYY Fine Reader. This is the document. The first page of it has been OCR'd. And what it does, it comes up with different colors to identify different parts of the document. All of the blue is just text. That's all that is. The pink on the left with the blue arrows there, pink here means a picture. So it's identifying this as a picture. The problem I have with that is that it has words on it, and a screen reader would need to read the words. It also identifies in green tables. The table here is odd. There's a table at the bottom for fall and spring, but the words above that aren't really a table. It's more like two bulleted lists. So that's an issue. The rest of this page is all blue. It's all text. It's just straight up text like you could see on the original. On the right-hand side of this page is what has been found, how Abby has read it when she scans it. The blue boxes, and there aren't that many, show places where she's a little confused. And as you can see, top right, there's a giant capital R, which for Abby is the Arch logo. And she can't read that. She doesn't know what it is. So we get an R. Anything that has a blue box has to be fixed. The next thing that we would do is for the next screenshot, I edited this version in ABBYY and I changed it a little bit. The logo at the top for the arch had on the left side of the screen was in blue as if it was a text, just regular text, and it's not, it's an image. That I I squared, I guess, rectangled in pink for a picture. However, for those blue arrows, that whole thing, I used instead a background picture, which allows you to, ABBYY will recognize it as a picture, but then you can draw boxes around the text and you can kind of see them there. The boxes for the text are blue and drew them around years 1 and 2, 3, and 4. I did change the strange bulleted list above the table and just made that into blue text. The tables are still green. Once you have done this, you recognize the page once more, and ABBYY tells us what we have found. When that happens, and you can see on the right-hand side of this page that it did pretty well. It has the arrows, it has all of the text, it got the logo, which was great. I figured that out. So I thought, okay, this is not bad. And there's a strange box for the spring in the center. Yeah, I don't know where that box came from. I'm not sure, but Abby, she does what she wants. The next thing I do is save it as a Word document. So this is the next screenshot, and this is what we find. When you put it into Word, it did pretty well, except it got rid of all the arrows and left me just the little blue boxes around the words, which is okay because it was the words that were important, right?
Mhm.
Years 1 and 2, that kind of thing. So it takes and moves it from there. I still have difficulty seeing the font is not very clear. It's still kind of fuzzy and gray looking. So that would need to be fixed. The last part of this is that then I save it again in Adobe Acrobat. This comes through and it has technically everything we were looking for. It has the arrows, it has the words, it's got the logos. It seems to look pretty good. The next part is we'd have to open it up in Adobe Acrobat and see. And when I did, it did have tags. The tags were a little strange. There were some that had to be moved around, but it seemed it was no longer an image, which was good. The table was there, that kind of stuff actually came over from Word, which was good. But what Elizabeth did, she uses Adobe Acrobat for her OCRing, and she was able to change this document in ways that I really like. She didn't change it, however. What she did is her version is much better. Ta-da! It is easier to read, easier to follow, and it's WCAG compliant. Can you tell us the magic that you performed here? How you did it?
So I took a look at the graphic that they had and just realized that, and if I were working in social work, I would, of course, go to someone above me and say, is it okay if I do this?
Exactly.
And if I explain myself, they'll probably be like, oh, sure,
Mhm.
But what I did was I took see if I can have these side by side. I took all that information and I just made it linear, I guess.
Mhm.
So it's no longer in a graphic kind of form. So we've got all the same information, but now instead of being in a graphic that is to me still, it was kind of fuzzy and it was still fuzzy when you were done with Abby, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, that was too bad.
Now it's giving us all the same information, but it's just laid out in what I consider to be an easier to see and read format.
Absolutely.
These guys are actually headings, and a screen reader would love this.
Did you change it in Adobe or did you put it back into Word?
So what I did was I opened Word and I had used OCR on just this image, and I did that by clicking on it and then right-clicking on it and saying recognize text. And I'll say in this file, yes, please, recognize text. Because before it doesn't understand that there's anything there to see. And now it's looking for words. And after I did that, now I've got some words. So I did not have to retype everything, but I did basically just open Word and recreate this in a way that I found more, not necessarily aesthetically pleasing, but readable pleasing.
Mhm.
I copied and pasted the information. And what was funny is after I did that, and then I got down to this part, I realized it was literally all the same stuff. I didn't even really have to OCR it, but
If you have a document that's housed on your website, on your department's website, and it's not your own department's PDF file, you can go back to the originator of the document and ask them what they'd like to do. Do they mind if you fix it? Those kinds of things. You are responsible for the accessibility of those documents. This one, once you check the reading order, it's in good shape.
Reading order is good. The
Yep.
tags are there.
Yep. And it's just so much easier to read. And it's easier for anyone to read, not just students who have accommodations, not just low vision, no vision, people who be using a screen reader. It's easier to read for everyone. And that's part of what we are really hoping happens across campus, that this, increasing the literacy about accessibility is what we're working on here. And this is a great example of that. It really is. So when you check your accessibility checker, has it got it can't have any problems.
It might.
No.
It says 3 issues. Okay, see, it wants to make sure we have reading order. Yes.
We did that.
Color contrast, it's good. Title, it's always the title.
It is. They'll get you there.
We can fix it. That's like one of the easiest things to fix. So we're going to call this.
This one is, what do we call it? BSW sequencing or something like that. BSW. Sequencing.
Sequencing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Sequencing. I don't even know what I wrote there. It's perfect.
There you go. That's good. So this is now past flying colors. It's great.
100%.
Yep. And this is the most important thing here that a lot of faculty and staff, they've got questions about is that, can you do this to documents? Are you allowed legally to do this? Change them so drastically so they look completely different. There's no figure in this anymore. Is that possible? And yes is the answer. As long as you include all the data, all of the information, you don't leave anything out because there's no room on the page for it anymore. You have to include everything, but once you do, if you take out the glossy images and some of the formatting, if everything else is there, you're golden. You have done your best to make it accessible. So there's no, and we do this a lot for our students, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, making them just simpler, taking out the format and keeping all of the data, all of the important stuff. You can't shortchange anybody, but as long as you keep the stuff in there and it's just not as glossy, pretty, if it doesn't have a specific kind of figure or a flow chart or something like that, as long as the data's there, you're okay. It's good.
And if I were going to print out, a nice glossy postcard or something to hand out at maybe like I don't know, a fair,
Sure. Yep,
trying to
right.
trying to get people to come take my classes
Sure.
in social work. I might print out that nice graphic, just making
Absolutely.
sure that it looks good.
Yep.
I'd probably add a QR code, and that QR code could point you right back to this document.
Exactly.
And you can say like, scan this for accessible version.
Exactly. Yep.
Scan this for digital PDF.
Exactly. That would be great. We don't want people to think that, great, now I can't be creative at all. I've got to have just boring black and white kinds of stuff. And you can use the black, white, and red of the bulldog colors and things like that, but that's it. But that's not true. You can do for various things, making some of the stuff accessible and keeping it creative is possible. But occasionally, and we showed you, Abby didn't do a great job with mine, and this worked so much better. And I think it looks nice. I mean, it's just simple, clean, easy to read, So I think this is good. Yeah, exactly.
And one thing, the graphic up here, it is still, you can see it's still quite blurry.
Yeah.
If I'd taken just a couple more minutes, I probably could have found that exact same logo online. Like we have a whole web area at UGA dedicated to having our official logos. I could have found that and found a cleaner version and stuck it in here.
Yep. So there are little things that you can change to improve this. We know that this is a huge job for folks on campus to change their documents and remediate them and get them accessible. And does anyone have any questions? Anything we can help you with? Concerns? You could throw it in the chat if you do. Oh, okay. I primarily create HTML documents and have been receiving green check marks for the accessibility checker at ELC. Sometimes I have images, screenshots from some software I use. I add alt text, but it's basic. How much of a concern will there be for this and what can be done? I don't think it will be possible to convert the image to text.
If your screenshot is mostly text, like if I screenshot Bachelor of Social Work here, or even if I use this logo here, what's important is that a person using a screen reader understands what is in the image. And so your alt text can be short but sweet. Here we just have logo of School of Social Work at University of Georgia, which almost gives us all the text. We could also have advocates for positive social change. And we would call that, instead of alt text, we would call it just actual text.
Right. Exactly.
If this were only the arches, we might say like UGA logo with arches. Yep, something like that.
Exactly.
So if your screenshot is mostly code, describe the code. What is the code? In short, what is the code being used for, or what does it say?
If the images from some software that you use, you add the alt text. Basic is okay. Usually basic is better. 1 to 2 sentences is the best for alt text for those images. If you need more, then content description would be needed, and content description is much more in depth, gives a lot more information. If you have graphs, if you have charts, things that are data driven, those have to be sort of written out. You know, the vertical axis, the horizontal axis, this is the legend. All of that information has to be put in the alt text as content description. Otherwise, alt text should be brief, should not go into too much detail. It's there just to identify just the basics like you've got. Did we answer that? We want to make sure. Please let us know.
Another thing to think about is context. If you are putting your alt text in for someone who is sighted and they can see the picture, but they need a little bit more information, then alt text is great. If you're putting it in for someone who has very low vision or no vision, and they're relying on hearing or using Braille in order to know what's in the picture, and you need them to know exactly what's in the picture, you're going to have to go all out with the content description and really describe exactly what's going on there.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
context matters too.
It does. Yep. Our next question. Thank you, Mickey. I'm glad he said good information, which is good. I'm glad we answered. Yue says, what are the benefits to change a P tag to an H1 or an H2?
Well, the benefit is that the H1, the H2, anything H, the headings are going to give you these bookmarks, and it's going to make it very easy to navigate through your document. Anything that has a P tag, like these guys in here, and this down here, it will not show up on the bookmarks, so it's not going to clog up basically your table of contents. If your table of contents had all of your P's in them, basically, it would just be the whole book. So this is a way to have your shortcuts to get from place to place. And that is why you would want to call some of these headings, and then things that are not considered headings are the P's, which just stand for paragraph.
Right. Yue also asks, in the BSW example, if the image is clear, what alt would be?
If you still had the information, like as we discovered, it was all down here the whole time. Like your alt text on there could be a graphic describing the typical course sequencing, and then you could have a note on there saying that the information is below it.
Boss Chris Dean Carpenter says, for screen readers sharing location information as they navigate the text, these are screen readers like JAWS, NVDA, and VoiceOver. They will be telling the reader where each item is before they read it. The navigating screen reader will not discern between two paragraphs without the heading tags to break up topics. If you want that topic broken up for people navigating with vision, you would want those separations for non-sighted readers as well. Okay, I'm going to go back and look at that again. The three screen readers that she offers are JAWS, NVDA, and VoiceOver. And these are for students who have no vision, low vision. And they will be telling the reader where each item is before they read it. So it identifies a heading, a list items, those kinds of things. And that the screen reader will not be able to discern between two paragraphs without the heading tags to break up the topics. If you want that topic broken up for people navigating with vision, you would want those separations for non-sighted readers as well. Absolutely. Yue also says, I'm from SSW. Thanks for taking the document from the SSW website as the example.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a beautiful graphic, by the way. And for printing out, it would be absolutely lovely, especially if you put that QR code on there. And we're happy to show you how to do that too.
Exactly. So thank you guys so much for joining in. We appreciate it. And let us know if you have any questions. Take care.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.